Hello, everyone, and welcome to Yadkinville, North Carolina for the Yadkin Valley Stomp GNCC. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Jason Wygant. Jason, a brand new race on this circuit.
Absolutely, a brand new race. We come to North Carolina for the second time this year, and as you can see, the terrain here is gnarly. It's going to be a great race, and the series has been thrown completely upside down since the last time we raced because our series points leader and defending champion Bill Balance is out with an injury.
That's tough news, but of course we got tough racing, and it's coming up next.
Sunshine and lots of smile and a peaceful day in the Yadkin Valley. The East Coast wine country here for the Yadkin Valley Stomp GNCC. Again, round number 10 of America's premier off-road racing series, the Suzuki Grand National Cross Country Championship. And there's a look at the man that broke his collarbone at the very last race before the summer break, but he's back and ready to go. The only thing is his counterpart, Bill Balance, his older brother, that guy right there, Brandon Balance. And of course, Bill Balance is not there because he broke a leg back in August preparing. Actually, he was doing a photo shoot for the brand new Yamaha that is coming out in 2006. So a tough break for him. Santo Teresa getting lined up. And there's a good look at Todd Nippenberg, the number 13 from Cumberland, Maryland. He's been kind of in there, out of there for the 2005 season, but look for big things out of him in the future, as well as that number 6 of Brian Cook and also the number 7 of Chris JENKS. There's the number 11 of Michael Houston. Now, those three riders there are all members of the Mickey Dunlap four-stroke tech team, and there's Matt Smiley on the Factory Polaris out of Kunkletown, PA. As we get set to go, row number 1, the pro class from our Scott Goggles helmet cam point of view right off the bat. And our Scott Goggles rider this week, William Yadkin. And check this out. Yadkin actually pulling the hole shot here as we head into turn number 1. And you can see he's got a pretty healthy lead as they head out of turn number 2 and get set to go to turn 3 and that first wooded section. And it looks like back in the number 2 spot, that was Brandon Balance, also Chris Borich knocking on the door. Let's take a look at that one more time, how William Yadkin got it done in our FMF Hole Shot Award at our Yadkin Valley Stomp. And here's how it goes through turn number 1. He got the jump, obviously, right off the starting line, but just held his line out of turn number 1 into turn number 2, and the rest of the riders fall into position. Row number 2, the Pro-Am class now off and rolling, and the man to keep an eye out for here is the number 66 of Adam McGill. Actually took a podium finish, nearly won the John Penton GNCC earlier this year, and also has plans of moving on to the Pro class after he captures the championship in the Pro-Am division, and he is well ahead in the points. And we'll soon see him in the Pro class, but he's on row number 2 in the Pro-Am class right now. There's row number 3. This is our Open A division, and of course lots of big names to watch in here. Mike Kite being one of those, Mike Benson, Anthony Hill, Cliff King, and all the likes as they jockey their way through the first few turns and now make their way into that first wooded section, and rather tight woods around here that we'll take a look at here in just a few moments on our Scott Goggles helmet cam. But right now we head down to row number 4, the 4-stroke A division, and pretty healthy start there as those 4-stroke A runners are all making their way through the first few turns. Now a little bit of a congestion through turn number 2, but keep an eye out for Ryan Morphew, the 251, the 47 of Travis Stiles, and also the 847 of Taylor Kaiser. They are definitely poised to do great here in the Yadkin Valley Stomp. Row number 5, the senior and the 2-stroke A and B division, a class that is soon dying away due to the fact that 2-strokes are not being produced very often now. Row number 6, the vet class, and some very tight competition here in our vet class as well as they make their way through those first few turns of racing here. And keep an eye out as row number 7 heads into turn number 1. It is our junior class. Our junior class, 25 years of age and older, Justin Brown, the 913, also Greg Stewart, the 27, and the 778 of Shane Hughes, also the 70 of Peter Stadmuller. The Open B class, row number 8, off and rolling as they head into turn number 1 through that Suzuki banner here, a Suzuki Grand National Cross Country Championship. Turn number 2, our ITP turn as they make that hard left-hand turn, and not a lot of congestion there for our Open B divisions. Now as we head down for row number 9, it's the 4-stroke B class. This class right here, one of the bigger classes, and has been split up into several different divisions, but nonetheless, we'll see probably this class grow even more as time wears on. Right now, it is our final row, row number 10, the sport class, off and rolling now, and they'll make their way into that first turn. And you can see these riders, they're starting on the back row for a reason, and the reason is they're not nearly as competitive as some of those guys up ahead of them. But as speaking of those up ahead of them, there's the leader here on lap number 1 near this 1 mile marker. There's William Yadkin back in second, Brandon Balance third, Chris JENKS. Fourth place, the number 3 of Chris Borich. Again, fresh off an injury from the Wisp GNCC. There's 5th place, number 16, Santo DeRisi. 6th place is the number 6 of Brian Cook. 7th place now, that's Matt Smiley aboard the number 4, the 11 of Mike Houston, back in 8th place. 9th place, the 14 of Andy Lagsdon's. And rounding out your top 10, that's going to be the number 18 of Johnny Gallagher out of Aurora, Ohio. And a little further back in our pack, there's the number 13 of Todd Nippenberg. Look for great things out of him in this 2005 season as things wrap up. I really expect things to click for him at the end of the season, and especially as we head into 2006. We've seen Jeremy Rice making his way back through the latter part of our pack there aboard the number 8 machine. There's the number 23 of Brian Baker out of Knob Noster, Missouri. There's the 66 of Adam McGill, our Pro-Am rider, already working his way up into the ranks of our Pro class early on here on lap number 1. The 319 of Wyatt Westmoreland working his way up and knocking on the door of the back of the pack there in row number 1, the Pro class division. As we continue to watch these riders make their way through these tight woods, you can see this is a little more open section of the woods. It gets a lot tighter than that. And one other thing to point out is there's lots of dust out there, and that's going to create a vision hindrance as this race day wears on. And there goes the 61 machine. That was Jeff Miller. He's out of Smithfield, Pennsylvania. He also doubled up as a mechanic for Barry Hawk on the bike side of things earlier this year when, of course, Barry Hawk's mechanic was out because of an injury. More of our Pro-Am class riders making their way through those dusty woods as we check back in just a little further ahead on the track there. That's the number 2 of William Yoakley, and he is beginning to open up a rather comfortable lead there over Brandon Balance. We had a chance to talk with him.
I feel good. Like I said, I got in some riding and got hooked up with some guys back home. I was fortunate enough for them to ask me to ride on their place, and it's just like a cross-country, a national trail. You know, it's fast, open, has some rough sections and some good hills to work on, and got a lot of good practice. Got my bike all rebuilt and redone. It's ready to go. Have a lot of confidence in it, especially with the help of my mechanic here, Brock. He's always there helping me, and he has a job too, and he always, you know, as soon as he gets off from work, he's asking me what we need to do to get ready.
Brandon Balance kind of carrying the torch right now for his brother and doing quite well early on here at this inaugural running of the Yadkin Valley Stomp GNCC. And, of course, the man right there, Johnny Gallagher, the number 18 machine, still holding on to a top 10 position here as we work our way toward a rather interesting spectator spot coming up here in just a few moments at the 8-mile marker. We'll be taking a look at that. But right now, let's watch some more of our Pro-Am riders make their way through this tight wood section. Again, this is one of the more open sections of our woods. It gets a lot tighter than this, and for the reason of being very tight, we weren't able to get our cameras in there, but we were able to talk with William Yoakley this morning.
Yeah, well, Bill's not around, and Chris is not the only competition, although he's a tough rider, but he's not the only guy out there. There's a lot of other tough riders. You know, you can't never count Smiley out. You got JENKS. You got a whole list of people, and, you know, nobody makes it to the front row by just being a slouch, so you always got to remember that. So, you know, I have more than one competitor, and it's a bummer about Bill. I never like to see anybody get hurt, but, you know, just is what it is. I'm going to go out today and try to do it.
Yoakley is a rider that brings his A game to each and every race, and as you can see, get off to an exceptional start here this afternoon as he takes the whole shot and has led pretty much since the get-go of this race and is what looks like beginning to open up a little bit of a lead. And this rider right here who has a little bit of a gap between himself and the rest of the pack, looks like he had himself a lead over his class there as they are making their way through now. Tough break for him as he is caught up on those small trees. And I'm telling you, folks, we said it was tight, and that's the reason it's hard to blaze new trails like that, because the riders will get stuck on little clumps of trees like that, lots of little saplings through these woods here in North Carolina, and the rider says, hey, we're not going to be passed anymore as we'll just block the path with our quad. And well, that other rider says, whoa, and nearly going over. Actually, the ATV turns over there, but our rider gets off on his feet very quickly, quick to react, and he's going to get back into the action. Yoakley continues to lead here near the 2.5-mile marker as not much of a change. Chris Bort still back in the 4th place position. Santo DeRisi back in 5th aboard the number 16. Chris Bort, again, coming off of that collarbone break. It's not his first race race, so we know that he is seasoned, and he says he's back up to 100%. He says he's going to win these last 4 races of the season. We'll see if he's able to do so. With Bill Balance being out, that could be an added bonus for him in his championship points hunt. We'll just have to wait and see how things break down at the end of the season. Out near the 5-mile marker now, still Yoakley out front. No change through our top 5. DeSanto DeRisi back in fifth, still in the chase. In 6th place, the number 6 of Brian Cook. 7th place, still the number 4 of Matt Smiley. Smiley trying to make his way through the dust with Michael Houston right on his rear wheel. Here's that Yamaha Creek Run section we were talking about a few moments ago, and there comes William Yoakley out here on lap number 1, and of course he appears to be taking it rather easy. He's got enough of a comfortable lead there that he's going to be able to do so. As we check back in with 2nd place, there is the number 9 of Brandon Balance, still hot on his rear wheel. The number 7 of Chris JENKS, who has been riding better and better with each and every race, actually a few podiums this year. We had a chance to talk with him this morning.
Yeah, actually going 10th round today. I'm 1 point ahead of Matt Smiley, several points behind Yoakley. Just want to hold my own out here and try to do my best and see what happens. Of course, Bill's not here. I think we're going to see a shake-up in points today. Rest year, it's going to be interesting. The only thing I can do is go out there and do my best, leave it on the line. That's all I can do. So that's next 4 races. That's what's going to happen. Just do my best.
The only thing that rider right there lacks is faith in himself. He's got the talent, he's got the potential, and he's actually proven himself time and time again. But honestly, Chris JENKS is still finding it hard to believe that he is podium, let alone championship material in this 2005 Suzuki Grand National Cross Country Championship. He might be able to pull one off here today. He's holding very tight with our leaders right now. Of course, Balance Brandon in 2nd place with William Yoakley out in front. And here comes a couple of our other classes making their way through this Yamaha Creek Run now. And this is, again, an area that is very tricky. Riders are going to stall out here. We'll see possibly some passes as the day wears on. These riders are going to get more aggressive and start to bonsai this section. They'll suck up that water and actually stall out. And I'm sure that we'll see that happen probably more than once. And that could be a factor even in that pro race as the closing laps wear on. These riders get the adrenaline really pumping as the race wears on. As you can see already, one rider stalling it out there. Now, whether or not he actually sucked up the water, I'm not real sure, but stalls it out, creates a little bit of a traffic jam as we keep an eye on this section of the race course, the Yamaha Creek Run. And this is where we're going to see a lot of those other classes, like those junior class riders, vet class riders, 4-stroke A, 2-stroke A and B, the senior class, the Open A, and the 4-stroke B riders, all check in with us here on our DVD copy of GNCC Racing in this 2005 Suzuki GNCC Series. And again, remember, champions choose Suzuki, so why don't you? And right now, our Suzuki out front is William Yoakley, who could very well be the inaugural winner of our Suzuki GNCC Series. Let's take a look at that leaderboard now to see how things are beginning to break down, with William Yoakley out front, as we were saying. Brandon Balance still in 2nd, Chris JENKS in 3rd. In 4th is Chris Borch, and Santo DeRisi rounds out your top 5. Think this section of the race course is rather tricky with the deep water? Well, let's check in with our Suzuki Pro Tip Rider of the Week, and of course that is William Yoakley.
I'm here with William Yoakley in our Suzuki Pro Rider Tip of the Week. And you know, we've tackled lots of different terrain here at the GNCCs, but one thing we haven't talked about, William, is how to get through deep water. We had a real deep creek section there.
Yeah, well, Rodney, the way I usually encounter sections like that and that low spot was usually come into the creek pretty slow. I don't want to hit too hard, and get a little excited and hit the creek. You could very easily drown out your bike or get your gloves and goggles all wet, which is going to affect you throughout the whole track, and mess with you mentally, and physically for not being able to hang on. Plus, I usually just go through the water, in that deep water. I kind of position myself on the seat pretty neutral and work myself back and forth accordingly to how the bike's floating in the water. And I usually try to keep my RPMs kind of low, but the wheel spin in control by feathering the clutch. And I usually try to keep a little weight on the rear of the seat so I can keep pulling forward. And like I said, just keep the RPMs good and your front end floating just right. And I try not to get excited no matter what's going on around me, just so I can make it through and come out the other side with my gloves dry, my goggles dry, my seat dry, so I can charge the rest of the way through the lap. And that usually works out quite well.
And that's your Suzuki Pro Rider Tip of the Week.
And if William Yoakley will take that advice as well as all the other advice he's given in those pro tips of the week brought to you by Suzuki, he should be able to take this inaugural Yadkin Valley Stomp GNCC home to the bank. We'll just have to wait and see. Brandon Balance still back in second, and Mickey Dunlap's four-stroke tech rider number 7, Chris JENKS, in third. Fourth place, still the number 3 of Chris Borch, well within striking distance, but he's best be making some moves soon as we are starting to wear on in this race. Lap number 2 now, just after the finish line region, is where our pro pits is located, so this is still early in the race, I guess you could say. The number 16 of Santo DeRisi still in 5th, still in 6th place, the number 6 of Brian Cook. Cook been trying to apply some pressure to that 16 machine, and I'm sure he'll try again once we get in those woods. And speaking of pressure, here's pressure being applied by the number 11 of Michael Houston on Matt Smiley, the number 4 machine, for that 7th place position, and he may be able to make that pass. Not able to do it just yet.
Definitely. I've been training hard all summer. It's been hot at home, and it's hot here today. So I'm ready for the heat, and put my Polaris Predator out front and hopefully get a win here today.
Matt Smiley is a very, very aggressive rider and a very, very late and hard charger. He is well within striking distance of our leaders right now. But again, Matt Smiley really comes to life as the race wears on, as we head out near the 2.5 mile marker now here on lap number 2. Still no change through our top 5 as DeRisi still rounds him out in 5th. In 6th place, no change there as Cook has closed that gap a little bit, but looking for a place to pass in these tight North Carolina woods, and it looks like the number 11 of Houston has made the pass on the number 4 of Smiley. Smiley obviously going to try to strike back from that, and I'm sure very disgruntled by that pass. Dusty conditions, though, are hampering a lot of these racers' view, but not Brandon Balance. There's a little bit of dust being kicked up by William Yoakley right now. Yoakley has obviously got the clear view field ahead of him, and he's got that Scott Goggles helmet cam, and I'm sure we'll be checking in with him again before the show is out. Meanwhile, back out near the 5 mile marker, and Yoakley continues to dominate, but still not able to open up the gap nearly as wide as I'm sure as he would like. And check out that new line opening up there as both JENKS and Borch catch that line and shave just a little bit of time off of their scores right now. Of course, right now, let's check in with our loose rider profile this week on the number 18 of Johnny Gallagher.
I started racing when I was 5 years old on an ATC 70 that I got for my 5th birthday. My dad raced dirt bikes, and he got into the 100-miler series before it was the GNCCs, and I've been coming to these since I was 2 or 3 years old. Started racing the GNCCs actually in 1989 or 90 on the Youth, which ran earlier this morning. Got hooked, and it's all I've ever wanted to do since I was probably 6 or 7 years old. I turned pro in 1996. After 2 years of racing, I raced 1 year in the B class, 1 year in the A class, and then my 3rd year we turned pro. So this would make that my 10th. This is my 10th full season in the pro class. Bikes are awesome. Been having no bike problems all year. Great people to work with. Everything's been really clicking the last couple races. Seems like the tougher the conditions get, the better we do. So we're hoping for some tough races.
Johnny Gallagher from Aurora, Ohio, rides a Suzuki Z400. He's 27 years old. He's been racing pro for 10 years. He's ranked 18th in 2004. In 2003, actually ranked 11th and finished on the podium once. And in 2002 was ranked 14th. Right now, Johnny Gallagher struggling in the 2005 season on and off throughout the season. But I don't think we've seen the last or the best of Johnny Gallagher just yet. I think he might have a championship run under his belt within the next 3 years. Out near the 7 mile marker, still no change up front through our top 6 riders as we check in with Andy Lagston now here on this second lap of racing, and about 2/3 of the way through this second lap of racing, and it looks like Matt Smiley has dropped yet another position, has dropped off now to what looks like a 9th place position as we head toward our Yamaha Creek run now and check in with our lead riders down there to find out how it all is breaking down in the water. It looks like it is still William Yoakley out in front here on lap number 2 at this 8 mile marker, and back there in second place looks like still the number 9 of Brandon Balance, but he has slowed down quite a bit. Let's take a look at what this creek run actually looks like through our Scott Goggles helmet cam now. Again, our rider William Yoakley, who has led this race from the drop of the green flag. You see now that the water doesn't really look all that bad, but as we head into this tunnel section, we can start to see that the water is being forced back against itself, and whenever that happens, it's starting to get deeper and deeper, so it risks more and more opportunity for the water to rush back in on these bikes and actually suck up into the motor and possibly stall them out. You can see that all these riders using precaution just as that William Yoakley talked about in that Suzuki Pro Rider Tip of the Week there. And Michael Houston a little bit more aggressive. He has no one in front of him right now, but he's got some ground to make up. There's the number 6 of Brian Cook. It looks like that Houston has gotten around Cook now, and Houston is on his way toward the top 5 right now, and quite possibly could be striking on the number 16 of Santo DeRisi quite soon. There's the number 4 of Matt Smiley once again. He's making his way through this Yamaha Creek run now. There is the number 18 of John. No, that's the 16 of Santo DeRisi, who has obviously made mistakes of his own and has dropped back through the top 10. And Andy Lagston also dropping off a couple more positions himself. So it looks like something out there on the race course has hindered some of these riders from about 5th place on back, because they have juggled up quite a bit. There's the 13 again of Todd Nippenberg. Has been running just outside of the top 10 nearly all year long. There's the 18 of Johnny Gallagher. He was our Moose Rider spotlight rider there we seen just a few moments ago, and he just makes easy work of that Yamaha Creek run as a 23 now of Brian Baker out of Knob Noster, Missouri, makes his way through on that green Honda through the Yamaha Creek run out near the 8-mile marker. And more of our riders, and I believe we're going to be checking in now with some of our other riders from the Pro-Am division, as well as Open A classes, 2-stroke A and B divisions. And that looks like the number 5 of Chad Duvall there from the Ampro Yamaha ATV team. He's one of the only Ampro ATV supported riders out there, and he's also been suffering from actually illness early on in the 2005 season, but from all reports it sounds like things are going very well for the number 5 of Duvall from Williamstown, West Virginia, and hopefully it will continue to do that. He should be able to hopefully put a full-on assault for that 2006 title that Bill Balance is finding harder and harder and harder to win, especially since he's out with injury here at the Yadkin Valley Stomp. Taking a look now at that Suzuki leaderboard, William Yoakley out front, Brandon Balance in second, Chris Jenks in third, fourth place Chris Borch. No change through our top 4, but Michael Houston has worked his way into a top 5 position in 5th place aboard the number 11 Mickey Dunlap 4-stroke Tech Machine. As we head through the pits now, this is lap number 3 on pit row, and will any of our riders stop in for a pit stop? Let's see now. I bet you that William Yoakley, the number 2, is going to, as we can see him reaching down now for his gas cap, going to get some of that fresh Klotz gasoline and also possibly a new pair of those Scott goggles. Nope, no new need for his new Scott goggles, just a little dust out there. Yoakley has still got clear view vision as he has had no one in front of him all day. There's Borch. He's going to stop in for a pit, but I don't think that Brandon Balance did. I don't think that Chris Jenks did either, as Jenks and maybe Balance might have something up their sleeve in hopes of possibly pulling off their first win ever with the absence of Bill Balance. Right now, let's stop down and check in with Ray Jenks about why Chris Jenks didn't pit.
I think he's going to be there. I think he's going to be maybe 2, maybe even 1. It'll be close. He might not have to pit. It's debatable right now. That's what we're going to see what he's going to do. He calls the shot on his pit.
Calm, cool, and collected Ray Jenks is, and he hopes the best for his boy, and of course that would be a win. There's the number 6 of Brian Cook. Now he'll stop in for a pit stop there at the Mickey Dunlap tent, and another rider that'll probably stop in for a pit stop, it looks like a flailing Matt Smiley. Let's stop down and check in with his crew chief, Jay Goebel.
He's 7th right now. He was 8th. He picked up 1 position. He picked up a few more seconds on that last lap, so hopefully he's just getting in his groove and he can pick up a little bit of time before the last lap.
Matt having some problems right now. Another rider having some problems, the 16 of Santo DeRisi, but Jay Goebel knows that he should be able to work it out. A tough break for the 16 of DeRisi, who had a pretty good run going on. Let's stop down and check in with Jason Wygant.
All right, here we are at the Yadkin Valley Stomp, that red tent. Normally that would be the factory Yamaha pits, but Bill Balance isn't here. He's injured, and the flag is being carried by his younger brother, Brandon, who used a smart pit top strategy to get to the front of the pack. He's trying to put the Balance Racing Yamaha on the podium in the absence of his brother. But Chris Borch, Chris Jenks, William Yoakley, they're making it really, really tough on him. 4 riders battling for 3 podium spots, and Borch, he's still battling for a championship too, so a lot going on the racetrack.
A big boost of confidence for a lot of riders, including Brandon Balance. As we see, he has taken that confidence right out front with Chris Jenks right behind him in second. Neither one of those guys pitting, but those two right there, William Yoakley, the number 2, and the number 3 of Chris Borch, both in the pits and both still back there in 3rd and 4th in our top 5, so they might be able to make an advantage out of it whenever the other riders pit a little later on in the laps. And I'm sure that at the end of this 3rd lap, heading into lap number 4, those riders will have to pit soon, and that's where they'll regain that advantage that they need to regain. And of course, it's an all-out war from there on out, probably for the number 2 of William Yoakley and the number 3 of Chris Borich, as we check in with a few other riders back through our top 10 in this 3rd lap of racing here at the Yadkin Valley Stomp. We're out near the 2.5 mile marker once again, and there is Brandon Balance. There is Chris JENKS as we head out that way, and still in 3rd and closing that gap right back up. The number 2 of William Yoakley, and right on his rear wheels, the number 3 of Chris Borich. 5th place, the number 11 of Michael Houston, who moved into that position at the end of that 2nd lap of racing. Looks like he may be making his assault on the top 4 and reeling them in the process of trying to possibly go for his first podium. That boost of confidence Jason Wygant was talking about that these riders have all got with our champ Bill Balance out of the running. And the biggest boost of confidence should be going for that number 3 machine of Chris Borich, but he just cannot find the line around the pass. And again, look how tight those woods are. You can see off the beaten path right there. Now that's a little tighter, and a lot of those woods are like that, but it opens up into those open field sections out by some power lines, and you would think that a rider should be able to pass there, but a lot of dusty conditions out there today, and it's making it tough for those riders to see and make those passes. So that's probably why we're not seeing a lot of passing taking place up front. And furthermore, that boost of confidence, these riders are riding high on that as kind of like a turbo boost for them as we head out to the Yamaha Creek Run once more. And you've seen right there the pass being made. Chris JENKS moves into the lead, and we told you that some riders may take an advantage of the other riders in that section of the course, and there you have it. The number 7 of Chris JENKS does so. It takes over the lead from Brandon Balance there in the Yamaha Creek Run. Let's take a look at it one more time in our Yamaha replay, and Balance just caught off guard, I believe, as he was just trying to conserve as much of his energy as possible through that section, trying not to create any splashing whatsoever. He had the lead. He wanted to hold on to it. And Chris JENKS says, "You're going way too slow. Move over and let me out front." Check that out. Looks like that Chris Borich has gotten around the number 2 of William Yoakley, as he himself having problems through that Yamaha Creek Run. Now the Suzuki pilot, who was out front, finds himself all the way back in 4th place, and the number 11 of Michael Houston may be ready to knock on his door for 4th place soon. Still back in 6th place, the number 6 of Brian Cook aboard that Mickey Dunlap 4-stroke tech machine, and back behind him now here at the Yamaha Creek Run, it is Johnny Gallagher trying to go to the high side, actually burying part of that motor. It looks like a little deeper even. As we head on down and take a look at our Suzuki leaderboard now, it is Chris JENKS out front at the end of lap number 3, Brandon Balance in 2nd, Chris Borich is 3rd, in 4th place William Yoakley, and Michael Houston rounds out the top 5 after 3 laps complete. Heading into lap number 4 now, early on pit row, and it looks like that Chris JENKS has been in and out. He's been fueled up. It looks like the number 9 of Brandon Balance getting fueled up, and there goes the number 3 of Chris Borich, who pitted a lap ago. Will take advantage of that situation and move into the 2nd place position, though Yoakley falling back far enough that he's not going to be able to take advantage of the number 9's pit stop this time around, so William Yoakley's got his work cut out for him. There's the number 6 of Brian Cook. He also stopped a lap ago, does not have to stop for at least another lap of racing. Meanwhile, out at the 2.5 mile marker, it is Chris Borich still in the hunt of Chris JENKS back in 3rd, the number 9 of Brandon Balance on this final lap of racing. In 4th place is the number 2 of William Yoakley, and rounding out the top 5, the number 11 of Michael Houston. Jason Wygant standing by with a last lap report.
All right, white flag is out, and as we predicted, the pit stops have been a huge factor out here. Chris JENKS decided to pit late. He just pitted, but he only had to take a splash of gas. He got in and out of the pits long enough to hold off Chris Borich, which means all he's got to do is hold on. 10 miles, 1 lap under the intense pressure of Chris Borich. He's broken many a man this year. Will JENKS be the next on his list, or will JENKS be the spoiler? Will he hold on and win his first ever Suzuki GNCC event? We're about to find out.
Borch was on the trail of JENKS. Now he is in the hunt and nearly in the battle for that #1 position early on here on lap number 4. Our final lap of racing, still back in third. The number 9 of Brandon Balance in 4th place position. That is not your 4th place rider. That is actually lap traffic, and you can see why that Balance is starting to fade back just a little bit behind our lead riders, and I'm sure that we'll see this happen a lot here on this last lap of racing as the intense battle for that 4th place position with William Yoakley, Michael Houston, and Brian Cook continues to wage on here on this final lap of racing. As we can see, lap traffic is becoming a factor out there on the trail. JENKS still holding off the number 3 of Chris Borch, and JENKS may be on his way to his first ever win, but we have seen Chris Borch make a pass in the last mile, the last lap of racing on more than one occasion here in 2005, and of course Bill Balance has been his victim on a couple of those occasions. We'll see if he can do it here at the Yadkin Valley Stomp. Again, very tight wood sections, and it's going to be tough to get a pass on here in these woods. Virgin terrain for GNCC Racing, and Borch still in the hunt, heading out into one of those field sections. Again, may be plagued with the dusty conditions out there with these dry conditions that we have in the Yadkin Valley. There is the number 9 of Balance. He is stuck behind lap traffic and loses even more time on that hunt for first place. So his chances for a win here at the Yadkin Valley Stomp are basically going out the window. Meanwhile, William Yoakley, who had this one in the bag in the early part of the race, is fighting for his life in that 4th place position. Back up to 7th place after falling off to 8th place, the number 4 of Matt Smiley on the factory Polaris. And Smiley, we expect to see some strong things out of him here late in the race. He may even be able to reel in that battle for the 4th place position quite possibly, as we see our leaders checking in at the Yamaha Creek Run now out here by the 8-mile marker. It is still the number 7 machine of Chris JENKS, and he has got lap traffic and a cushion and a buffer between himself and that rider right there, the number 3 of Chris Borch. And with only 2 miles to go, it looks like Chris JENKS is on his way to his first ever win at the inaugural running of the Yadkin Valley Stomp. Still back in third, and still with that lap traffic being a factor, has faded off to about 30 seconds or so behind second place rider Borch. That is Brandon Balance now easing his way through this watery section. And Brandon Balance nearly stalling out there, it looks like, this time around. And precaution cost him the lead in the race earlier, back a couple of laps ago. But this time around nearly cost him even a podium position finish. There is the number 2 of William Yoakley, still holding on to 4th place, as he still got the number 11 of Houston right behind him. Lap traffic right behind them, and the number 6 of Brian Cook still well within striking distance if these riders make any sort of a mistake before the checker flag flies at that 10-mile mark. Again, about 2 miles out from this Yamaha Creek Run is where we're going to find the checkers and the finale of this Yadkin Valley Stomp GNCC. And again, looks like Cook is just trying to make his way through this final lap of racing and score what points he can, as we are at the finish line and the checkers are out, and Chris JENKS does it. Chris JENKS wins his first ever GNCC.
I just want to thank everybody that's here, all the fans. It's so great just to, even though we're in North Carolina, there's a lot of people down here from my hometown, and I want to thank everybody that's helped me get here. Rachel, my girlfriend, parents. My mom's not here. I figure she's not here to see this, but Mickey Dunlap, 4-stroke tech, Hillbilly Racing, to finally get here. There's so many people to thank. It's Max's tires, Elka suspension, IMS, Meyer Plastic. It's great. It's a great feeling.
You get in the open section, it would get dusty. You get back in the tight, you know, it'd be some good soil, and but it was just tight and not many lines out there. So I knew if we just stayed in that kind of a single file move, we would take it all the way to the end. William pitted, and I passed him, took the lead then, and then JENKS was right there on us, and Borch come up. So it was a good day, I guess. Wished I could have been up there in the front, but this is as good as it's been all year, other than Florida, so I'll take it.
Cool. It was a good race. Got a good start there, and if you would have got the whole shot, it would have been a lot better. But I was sitting 4th and just eating dust all day, and I couldn't breathe. And I'm happy to come home 2nd.
Up on the podium, Chris JENKS in first, 2nd place Chris Borch, 3rd place Brandon Balance. Let's talk to these riders after they've had a chance to let it all sink in on the podium.
And he said he was gonna.
blank, blank, blank if I didn't. So, but I don't know. Yeah, I had a good ride today, and I just proved to myself I can ride with these guys. And it's been a rough year. I've had some trouble with my lower back, and just been in the gym trying to figure out what the best thing to do and best way to get that working good. And I guess to come through today, good track. It's a good track. Got off to a good start, so I helped a lot.
Man, that creek section seemed like that was a lot of the racers decided it's pretty wild down there.
Creek was deeper than what I thought it'd be. Yeah, I sucked to some water and it was cutting out, so I had to go a bit slower. That's where JENKS got around. So I knew he might try it. That's about one of the few places that you can pull up on somebody and have a chance of going around. And that's what he did. And everywhere else, you get an open section. It would get dusty. So I was just wanting to stay up there in the front. I knew if I could hold them off all the way through, other than the creek and maybe a few other little places here and there, that it'd come out pretty good. But he got around me in the creek, and Boris got around me in the pits.
I know that your brother was hoping you'd win this one, and you probably too, but you got to still be pretty happy getting up here in third.
Yeah, I'll take third.
Chris Jenks, you won!
Hey, what do you think about that? I'm just proud to be here and somewhat surprised, but then again, I figured I'd be on the podium today. Didn't really expect first. I figured Boris would be, hopefully he'd get out front, and I don't know. I just figured he'd get out there and leave us, but thankfully William got out there, and I think he had a little injury today, and kept him in sight and just stayed patient the best I could, and finally put a pass on Brandon when I think with 2 laps to go, and just kept going as hard as I could and peeking over my shoulder every once in a while looking for Chris, and I'd see him every once in a while, but as soon as we get to dust, he'd fall off the pace. So last lap I was pretty sure I had it.
You made that pass in that creek section. That was one of the few places to pass. How crazy was it down there?
There was a bunch of fans down there. It was deeper than what it looked. It only looked like it was 6-7 inches deep, and it was actually 2 foot deep. Maybe I don't know if they dammed it up, but you had to, once you made your mind up, you had to push it. And the bike actually spit and sputtered, sucked in a little water for maybe a mile, but thankfully it's Honda cleaned itself out, and it was great.
Last lap, you have Chris Porch behind you. You have the opportunity to win your first race. What's that pressure like?
It's not too much pressure, to be honest. Chris has been coming to local races all summer, and we've been riding together, so I had that in the back of my mind to, hey, thank God for the local races, and it really didn't bother me that bad. Just like any other race, just keep it out of the trees.
Well, no more lack of confidence now. You expect to win these things from now on out, right? You belong here.
Yeah, I expect to be on the podium. I know I'm not going to win every one, but with the help I got, there's no reason I can't be up here every week, so that's what I expect.
Well, man, congratulations. We're so proud of you.
Yeah, thanks. I want to thank Mickey Dunlap, 4-Stroke Tech, Max's Tires, Adapt Graphics, Wiseco Pistons, Moose, Douglas Wheel, Elka Suspension, Jansen Motorsports, Big Gun Exhaust, Durablue, everybody that's helped get me here. Rachel Eddy, of course, helped me get everything ready every week. My parents, Eric Lemley, GT Thunder, everybody. I just want to thank everybody that's got me here.
Great job.
Thanks.
And a look at the final results here from the Yadkin Valley Stomp Suzuki GNCC. It is Chris Jenks on top, Bork second, Brandon Balance in third. Brian Cook moved all the way up to 4th place from 6th, and William Yoakley rounded out your top 5. That'll do it for GNCC Racing. I'm Rodney Tomlin for Jason Wygant and Rachel Ayers. Have a great day, everybody. GNCC Racing is produced by Gear Media and Marketing for Racer Productions, the exclusive producer of the 2005 Suzuki Grand National Cross Country.